We've all heard it. Brokers are out to screw truckers. But how much of that is actually fact? And how much is frustration? I think there's a lot of frustration out there. Tonight, we're bringing in a dude who's been on both sides of the table, broker, fleet owner guy, does overdimensional freight, moving of freight and stuff like that. Sage Outcast. We're going to try to cut the noise and get to the truth about brokers, relationships, and real strategy. So hang tight. You know what I'm going to do. We'll be right back and see you in just a second after I hit the stupid button right here.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Sebrite Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
So we started looking for a way to save money on fuel. And we were turned on to the ES Advantage program for fuel first. So we got a hold of Jeff Reese and he ran us through that program. And man, we were starting to save. And then we started talking to them. Well, we saw their website and we said, Jeff, what's this thing about insurance and accounting and
Right.
You lease trucks? What?
Right. And that's the thing is we only knew it as a fuel card. And when we started digging deeper, I mean, we ended up getting hooked up with an insurance provider, Sebrite Agency, and they created an entire insurance program just for us and our people. And from that, we've learned that, you know, now there's even more potential. There's a greater opportunity, and it's completely opened up our eyes and broadened our vision into what it is we're trying to do, which is help people do better. Wrapped with the ES community just makes that process so much easier.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Again, Charlie?
Yes,
Again?
because it's so much fun, man. I can't help myself. It's fun to just throw you up there when you're not expecting it because I don't know, you know. And look, there's another one. He's like, "What the hell? Wasn't expecting."
Come on, brother. I listen. I busted out the body armor. because there's gonna probably be some shots fired.
Right,
All right.
right.
There's gonna
Wait,
be some broker shots fired.
I can't have you up on top.
Yeah.
I got to be beneath you, brother.
I'm ready to rock and roll.
That's
I'm
kinda
ready to rock
weird.
and roll.
What's up, Mike? Good to see you, buddy. Jonah Green, TK, CW, Michael Fowler, Chris Hamilton, Blind Sight, Lisa, all those people. Good Lord. Sage said, "Hey now." All kinds of people. Who's first today? Trucker Tim. That's right. Trucker Tim was first, like way super early. It was like 1:51 this afternoon when I put the show up. It's kind of funny. They like to fight for the first post, and then half of them don't come back for hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about
so
right.
much fun though. But a bunch of us talked throughout the day on here. In the chat, it's funny. Trucker Tim. Let's see. Matt Nissen was next, and Chris Hamilton. Oh, and our best buddy, Wimpy McPope, man with a million excuses. Love you, Craig Hutchinson, other people. If I forgot you, whatever. I love you. You guys know it. Let's see. Yeah. So, you know, we should. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
That doesn't know Sage. This is Sage.
Hi.
You can check his channel out. It's in the description. Should be up there towards the top where it says his name. Definitely check him out. Fun to watch. He's got as bad a scroll brain as I do sometimes, I think. It's just hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I do a show. We talk. Well, let me give you the breakdown so everybody kind of has the gist of what I've got going on first, right? So my name's Sage. I've been in trucking for over 2 decades. So I've got a CDL. I've been an owner operator. I've been a carrier. I've been a Landstar driver, Landstar agent. My wife was a Landstar agent. I've been a broker. I've been a broker agent. She was a Landstar. She was an agent now. So I'm currently still moving freight. And now I'm also a licensed insurance agent for Log right? So there's pretty much
More hats.
the industry is. I'll tell you what. I say this, the industry is sort of like the mob. Like once you're in, you can't get out.
Right?
You can't get out, no matter what you do. You just fall deeper and deeper into it. But I like it and I'm good at it. So what I kind of wanted to do was to learn every aspect of it, so that when I even when I'm doing insurance and selling insurance, I can talk truck and I can explain things and make sure that I can help drivers out in every aspect I can while I'm doing that. So that's one of the things I do. But now my show, the Sage Outcast show, basically I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's kind of more of a political news debate show. And I have callers call in and let's just say that can get off the rails sometimes. That can get off a little. But
I don't believe it.
Time with it. Let me adjust my body armor here because shots can be fired. But we reached out and with NARC it kind of hooked us up, and we wanted to have a conversation to help some of your guys out in regards to what's going on behind the curtain. What levers is the Wizard of Oz?
Because you guys are evil bastards.
What's funny too is that I remember when I was a broker, I was already an evil bastard, right? So then when I became an insurance agent and a broker, I've reached maximum evilness at that point, right?
I think we need to add a lawyer to your repertoire.
Ooh, that's one. Well, that might be a little harder, but I try. Listen, either way, I'm really an honest guy in a world of liars. That's what I want to be known as, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm working with a truck driver, as a broker, as an insurance agent. I just want to be an honest guy in a world of liars and give the information I can give, so everybody kind of understands what's going on, because that's the only way you get better at it. And I want drivers to be better at it. I really do, to be honest. I want brokers to be better. I definitely want brokers to be better at it, because I don't like brokers.
I want everybody to be better.
And exactly. And that's what we're kind of here for.
That's one of our, catchphrases from, Contractors Corner is, run your business better.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's plain, it's simple, it's easy. Wording is easy.
You could end the show right there. We're done here.
We're done.
Do that, but we'll continue on.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week, 6 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday. Oh, but no, okay. So, but most truckers, I'm going to go back to my little minor script here because I got to keep myself on track. But most truckers do think that the brokers are the enemy. Yeah. But we decided it's time to break rumors and separate rumors from reality. Learn how to broker game actually works. Someone who's actually working or has worked in that field, right? Mm-hmm. And how to get along and learn how to actually operate in that field. But of course, first question: are brokers really getting rich while drivers starve?
So, are we getting rich while drivers starve? The answer is no, to be honest. So a lot of times it depends on how you look at things. I do things a little bit different. So first thing you want to understand is like the difference between like contracted freight and spot market freight, right? So contracted freight is when a carrier comes in and negotiates with a broker, let's say, and because the broker has established a relationship with the business, and they've done like a semi bid or an annual bid or a mini bid, anywhere from 3-6 year long bid, and that's been contracted out at, let's say, $2 a mile plus fuel surcharge, right? That's the normal carriers doing that. Well, a lot of times what happens is if a driver falls off or something happens or a customer has an extra load, we'll put that stuff out for bid. Okay, so now we have kind of a set price on that, but as it's out for bid, it could be any price, right? I want to move it for $2 plus fuel, right? Because that's what I'm contracted with the customer with. But a lot of times, I just get an all-in price for the carrier. And that price, so the markup on that is usually like a volume based, and sometimes it could be negotiated where it's, hey, we take 17%, or off of the loads we do. It doesn't matter what we move it for. We make so there's also that percentage or 15%. Now, back when I first started moving van freight and stuff like that, I actually did a volume-based rate. So a lot of times, this is why it's difficult for broker transparency. You said the word. I know.
Oh, God.
But I'm sorry, that might cause chaos. We might get call-ins. But I did a rebate system. So a lot of times what I would do is if you kicked up your volume or you did more volume, I would kick money back to the customer based on volume. So
Right.
it's are there some times where a broker does real well? Sure, 100%. Are there some times where a driver does real well? Oh, 100%, right?
Right.
And so it's give and take because I'm in competition with other brokers. So if I go too high, I've been outbid before on my freight.
Yeah.
I give the famous T to the L to the Q. I don't need to say anymore. Basically, has bid out lower the bid on me. So it's not that we're starving drivers out because
Right.
that's not the goal. The goal is the customer doesn't want to pay a lot of money for shipping. They just don't. And the broker wants to make money to find the best carrier, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. That's what we're really trying to do. The best way to explain this real quick is when a driver looks at a broker, they are looking to hire somebody to be their finance, sales, and this is what I do as a broker. I'm doing finance. I'm checking credit, verifying that this is a good customer. I'm doing sales and marketing. I'm selling my services, my business. I'm marketing. I'm putting myself out there.
Right.
I'm doing operations. I'm making sure that the equipment that the customer wants is the proper equipment, and hey, that it's going to a place that guys can deliver and things like that. I'm doing dispatch, which means that I'm dispatching the truck. I'm verifying the truck that we're going to put on there is a safe piece of equipment, properly licensed and insured, and dispatching the truck with a Raycon and sending them there. And then you guys, after that, you guys are fine. I'm also, I become and if things go wrong, I'm now the mediator between things, detention, late, all this other stuff.
Babysitter.
And I didn't say it. I
did.
Okay.
I claim it. I know, man. Look, I've met an awful lot of people in this industry that absolutely require babysitting, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those guys. Like, I talk to people in my terminal once every couple of months, even in my micromanaged, super gloomy Swift world, right?
Yeah.
I talk to them like once a month, maybe once every other month. And they're just like, bro, we haven't heard from you. Or someone applied for the Swift Mentor program on my behalf recently. So I got a call from the terminal leader going, did you really do this? I'm like, no, no, F-bomb. Are you crazy?
Right.
But yeah. And so I don't want to be micromanaged. I figure out what the rules are, what's required.
Right.
And I do better and perform. And then deliver on that, right? But I mean, you basically broke down the second question, why the broker pay system works the way that it does, right? And I think you covered that because there are margins that everybody has to make.
Yeah.
And I think it really comes down in the end to, am I willing to pull for this amount as the driver or the owner of the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it profitable? If it's not on the high profit side, does it get me somewhere better? Does it get me somewhere where I can set something else up, right? Because we actually used to play, there was a minor broker that we had at Swift that they tried to call a load board for a while, which was hilarious, but whatever. Yeah. It was a Command, and then it swapped over to Echo, where the companies.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it was great. I had a wonderful relationship with my dude. Like, he knew I would never pull for anything less than Swift's normal mileage rate. So he just never below that. Well, one time I think, but that's because he got me to like a $3 load over, at the time like $1.25 or $1.30 Swift rate or something like that, right? And he's like, dude, if you take this one at this little bit, the average, I'm like, yep, don't even have to say anymore. I got you,
Yeah,
and hooked it all up. But what are the big things that drivers are misunderstanding about the negotiation process, though? Because a lot of our guys, let's face it, don't know how to negotiate. They think they know how.
Yeah.
But to put it bluntly, sorry, Donna, they act like an asshole about it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so here's what I want you to understand. I'm trying to keep my customer, right? And a lot of drivers don't understand. They think, oh, all you do is make phone calls and you just call customers. You could cold call 1,000 people to get one customer, right? To get in that door, right? I've been with the same customer for 17 years. Okay.
Right.
So when it's very difficult to get in the door and get these customers, and the last thing we want to do is lose customers, right? I don't want to lose customers because even though it's easier for a driver to make money because they have a load board, there's no load board for me.
Right.
There's no load board. I can't just, wake up in the morning and dial into the, customer load board and grab these loads. So when the customer comes to me and says, "Hey, we want to move this," they don't have a blank check. There's a budget that this is what a lot of drivers don't understand, is that they're willing to pay all of, they can pay all this money. No,
Right.
there's a CFO someplace
Yeah.
that will come down out of their office and talk to that project manager or talk to that shipping manager and say, "Why did you pay this much?" Because that's the CFO's job, right? You have a hierarchy. So when drivers are looking to negotiate with brokers, the first thing that they have to understand is this is an interview process. I'm interviewing you, you're interviewing me, okay? Am I answering the questions right for you, or are you answering the questions right for me? Now, I'm going to hurt a lot of people's feelings here, but the load board is the minimum wage job opportunity board. It's just minimum wage. I don't know. I hate to break it to drivers. You're going to find some good jobs out there, but most of the time, it's a minimum wage because I don't know you and you don't know me.
Right.
Your goal as a driver is to get off that board. Your goal is to get on my list. I have not used a load board. I used a load board once in 12 years because I've got enough drivers and I've got enough contacts that I don't need a load board. I just shoot my text out. "Hey, where you at? Where you at? Where you at?" Right? Shooting these messages. So when you're negotiating with a broker, if you want a better rate, you have to realize you're a business. You are a business, right? Charlie, you're a business. Businesses have marketing and sales departments. So when you're calling me, you're not calling me as the truck driver. You're calling me as the marketing and sales department of your business.
Pimp.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go. And then you're going to call me, and I now have to also do the same for you. I have to present why are you bringing me value rather than that other 53-foot box over there?
Right.
And how can I bring you value with the information that I can get you that you can get me the best price possible, right? And I'm not, look, brokers are dum-dums. I told you, they're dumb. And I can explain that later. But what you want to do when you look at when you're working with a broker is you need to solve my problems.
Right.
Solve my problem. Don't sell to me, solve. If you solve somebody's problem, you're there for life. I solve my customers' problems. I don't sell to them. And I've been there 17 years. Right. So what you want to do is know what the broker's problem is. You already talked about some of the broker's problems. Babysit. I don't want to babysit you. How much do I have to pay you for you to babysit me? Exactly. I want you to be in at night. I want you to give me my bottle. I want you to babysit me. What is the rate for you to do that good of a job that I say, I call that dude, it gets done. If there's a problem, I get a call. So when you're calling and you're interacting with them, know that the problems that I'm having are drivers don't want to call. Drivers don't want to communicate. Drivers don't want to, tell me where they're at or anything. I don't know what time you're up. I don't know where you're at. You're supposed to be there at 2 or 3:30. You haven't called me. These are the problems that if you can solve these problems and reassure me, you're worth more. You've now brought me value of solving my problem. That's a big deal.
See, for me, I can tell you, when I was little, because I started with a paper route. My first job really was taking the trash cans out for the apartment building I lived in West LA back in the day. Yeah. 6 years old, 7 years old. They paid me $1.50 a week to drag the trash cans from behind the big ass building out to the curb. Right. And he said, if you're late and you miss the trash pickup, you don't get paid that week. Okay. You know what? Very first week, I was late. And I went and knocked on his door. I got the trash out. Yeah, but they didn't pick it up because you were late.
Right.
Oh. I mean, I don't get my money.
No.
I was kind of bummed. He's like, you didn't make it on time. Okay. Next week, put it out the night before.
Exactly. You didn't miss your appointment.
Right?
Right.
Then I got into a paper route, and that was awesome. I'm flinging papers and having fun, riding my little bike around. Awesome. They paid me to do this, ride my bike and throw papers.
Yeah, but
I'm like, hey,
Same thing.
Can I do 2 routes? Would that be possible?
Mhm.
And so then I picked up 2 routes and flinging paper. I'm like, oh, look, the more I work, the more money they give me. This is awesome. I didn't have to do collections. It was for the evening outlook, which was awesome. I didn't have to do collections. Just deliver the damn paper.
Right.
Don't put it in the trash can. Don't put it in the bushes.
Yes.
You know, certain customers, they want that sucker to touch their doorknob. Other customers, they don't care as long as it's on the grass, right? You know, what grass LA had anyhow. And
True.
but my mom was always, I mean, from very, very young, I don't care what job you do. Give more than expected.
Correct.
And more will come back to you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You don't ask for a raise having not done anything extra.
Yeah.
And you know, when I got into trucking, you know, I again brought that with me, and I just did more than what the average guy was doing. I didn't think it was a lot.
Right.
You know, changing lights, you know, instead of waiting for 4 hours for someone to send a service truck out, you know. Went through Swift had a little class back in the day that, you know, taught you how to do some basic wiring, some hose airline repair, stuff like that, right?
When I drove for Schneider, they gave us orange duct tape. First time I ever saw orange duct tape.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, here, what's this for? In case you get anything that you have to put duct tape over, because all of our equipment's orange. I'm like, wow, I've never seen orange duct tape.
You know? And then we got into that broker program, and that dude knew, man. He could give me crazy tight windows to what he thought were tight. I just ran the hell out of him and got there.
Yeah.
And still wasn't really speeding much.
Right.
You know, I wasn't driving real fast even by that point. Well, no. But look, I'm typically a 60 to 63 mile an hour driver.
Yeah. I'm
that guy in the right lane. Jeff, you know, is 60 to 63, depending on what's going on. Yeah.
65 in this truck.
I'm about 80 mile an hour guy, just so you know.
You know?
Yeah.
It tires me out driving that fast. But I would deliver and I'd be there. I'm like, hey, I'm here, man. They said they'll get to me in 2 hours about my appointment time. And he's like, wait, you're already there? Well, yeah, bro. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, but then that transferred over into like the gig that I'm in now. So I've been at the account that I'm at now, but I refuse to sign their account contract.
Yeah.
Because it's a much lower pay rate.
Mm-hmm.
And you're locked in at a solid pay rate. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to work for that. I provide more service than what that rate pays, I think.
Right.
Well,
so
oversized.
Like I do oversized now. So some of the things I move is 20 foot tall, 20 foot wide. I do super loads. I do oil field. I do fiberglass tanks, steel tanks, things that are round. You know, I've done 80 foot long. We have what's called performance clauses. So if I don't deliver on the day they say we have to have it there, right? After, I mean, obviously the manufacturer has to have it done. But if I'm loaded and I say I can have it there by Friday, if I don't have it by Friday, I could be paying $10,000 or $15,000 per day fine for deliveries. And some of you guys probably hear this stuff because you'll get to a shipper or a broker say, it's a hot load, it's got to go, we got to get it out of here, it's got to get it out of here. And then you show up at the receiving end and they're like, yeah, we don't need this for like next month. But the problem is the shipper had a performance clause. They don't care if the job site's ready for it or not.
Right.
The shipper's performance clause was, we needed this out today. Or we're going to be fined $1,000. So what you guys really want to understand is the optimal days is last day of the week. Obviously end of the day go up, end of the week rates go up, end of the month rates go up. Because performance clauses usually fall on end of day, end of week, end of month.
Yep.
And that's when you'll start to see prices. So what I used to tell guys, don't go home end of month. Go home beginning of month.
Right.
Month is when you're going to start to see a lot of these prices go up because they've got performance clauses to get them out. They've got to get them out or they're going to pay some type of fine. And that's a lot of aspects that drivers don't realize because and you'll hear this a lot of times where I just hauled this load last week and it paid this much. Well, yeah, because that last week we had a performance clause. And so that load was hot and had to leave compared to this week. And you know what I mean? So that's some of the stuff that's happening in the world of logistics while truck drivers just see the world of trucking. And they've got to learn both worlds because they're in logistics. They're in that spoke of logistics, which is trucking.
Right.
And that's where they need to look at the logistics portion of it. And once they start to do that, that's when they really start to become very profitable when they learn stuff like what you guys teach, the business aspect of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is the harder thing to teach. For I don't know why. For me it's not necessarily natural,
Mhm.
but it comes easy because I wanted to know how to do better.
Yeah.
Right. I ran a PI firm for a couple years and I hated the work that I was doing, so I got out of it. But it wasn't an unsuccessful business.
Right.
I mean, there was stupid money in that, and I took a couple years off and did nothing and just screwed around with the money that I got from that. Right.
Right.
But I learned some basic business principles there. But it was such an easy business to make money in Florida at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't, I didn't have to work hard.
Florida. There's something in the water in Florida.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Cheating wives and husbands. Okay, side story.
Side story.
Most people most people that came at me to follow their husband or their wife, they're like, they got to be cheating. They got to be cheating. I would actually find that they weren't.
Yeah.
And it was the one that hired me that was.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it anymore. I'm like, this is the worst world ever. I didn't want to do that work, but it was bread and butter.
Yeah.
I wanted to do executive protection and things like that, back more and finding real people that, didn't want to be found, things like that. I was really good at that in the Army. That was one of the last jobs I did. I worked for NPI and the AWOL apprehension department, and I chased down AWOL soldiers and deserters. It was great.
And then
By the way, your grandmother will give you up every time if she thinks that the guy calling on the phone is your buddy from the Army. Just saying.
Just saying.
And don't be greedy because some phone call says we're going to give you 100 free CDs for those of us back in the day on the phone call deal, and they're like, we're doing a special promotion in your area. We're going to give you 100 free CDs. Just give me your address. Let me know your name.
Yeah. I signed up. That was called Columbia House or something, right?
Yeah, Columbia House.
Yeah.
I would drop them all the time, man. And dude, I caught more people that were like long-term deserters for, oh my God, greed. It's funny. Anyhow, but yeah. So like on this Target gig, they pay me a lot more than they pay other people, relatively speaking. And I've been there 8, 9, 10 years now.
Doing Target? Yeah.
Yeah. Off and on for the most part, mostly on. But the customers love me. I have great relationships with almost all the stores. Some of them I just don't go to because they're just jerk faces, whatever.
No, yeah.
I can't filter out telling them how stupid they are. So, but my account runner knows that I offer good service. There are some quirks that come with me.
Right.
But
yeah,
I will be there on time. If there's a way to be on time or early, I'm going to be it. And since I've been at Swift, I have not one late pickup or delivery that was within my control. Weather, things like that, you can't control that crap. Anything that was in my control, I have not had a single late on, right? And it just kept going.
And that creates the value, man.
Right
there. Yes. And that's a word a lot of truck drivers need to realize. And I've explained this before, and I don't know if I have it. But your business, my camera, your business is like a cup, right? And trucking is one aspect that you can drop into that cup, right? That's just one aspect of your business, right? So you're trying to sell your business, if you're an LLC holder or whatever, and bring value. And people you have to market. Nike does marketing. McDonald's does marketing. And everybody knows Nike and McDonald's. Why? Because they still have to put out there and constantly doing that as a business, right? And I've had conversations with drivers. Actually, one of them I still know. I won't mention his name, Mike. Entree Mike, who a long time ago I did an interview with Entree Mike, but I won't mention his name. But he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He actually works with me with us at Log Rock. I had a conversation with him, and he was a carrier, right? And I said, "Well, how long have you been doing this?" He said, 6 years. I said, "Okay, can I talk to your shipping? Can I talk to your operations manager? Well, that'd be me. Can I talk to your maintenance manager? Well, that would be me. Can I talk to your sales department? Well, that would be me. Can I talk to your sales manager? That would be me." And I said, "Okay, well, if I'm now talking to the sales manager, how many direct customers have you brought in the last 6 years?" And his answer was none. I'm like, "You're fired." Who would hire a salesperson who brings in no direct customers?
Right.
You're fired.
Right.
And that was it was to him, it was like, oh damn. Get it now. Yeah.
Right.
You're a business, and businesses have to have sales departments to show their value to customers. And then, do things like I think you've heard of this word, relationships. I think I've heard a couple times you guys mention that word.
Relationship. Yes, sir.
And build those relationships. And that's something that I believe is lost. I believe it's truck drivers. It's easy to get in, right? You pay for this, you pay for that, you pay for that, you pay for that, you pay for that,
Right.
and then you're in. And now you grab this load board, and of course you reach out to me for insurance, and I help you out. But you grab this load board and look at this load board, and look at all that money. It's all free money. I just have to put it in the box and just drive, and that's just free money out there. Well, the reality of that is that broker got you that money. He's the one that posted that money on that load board. He's the one that did your sales, your marketing, your finance, your operation, your dispatch.
Right.
That got you to be able to back in the door and haul that load. Now, there's bad brokers. There's losers out there, 100%. But that's your job. I'm filtering out bad drivers. You should be filtering out bad brokers. Your little black book shouldn't be women. It should be good brokers. You know what I'm saying? That's what it needs to be. And I think that's where a lot of drivers don't realize that. I have a TMS, Transportation Management System.
Yeah.
And I am keeping track of all this data. And data is monstrous. And a lot of drivers, if I call them up, I'm like, hey, how long you been in business? I'm in business 4 years. Okay, where were you 3 years ago on this date? Oh, why? Why wouldn't you know that? Why aren't you keeping track of that? Why aren't you collecting your own data? Why aren't that way when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to this information, you're keeping your algorithms? Why? And I think truck drivers come in and they just want to drive the truck.
Right.
But the problem is they don't realize they just opened a business.
Right.
And they opened the business in the largest industry in the world. Logistics.
No, they didn't. They wanted to drive faster in a red truck, bro.
That's very true. But they wanted to
They
drive.
They wanted to take their truck home.
Yeah,
Right.
they wanted to drive a factor in a red truck, take it home in the largest business in the world of logistics.
Sage, that's how I started contracting. They wouldn't let me take my company truck home anymore.
Yeah. So
because I lived 107 miles from my terminal.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And they're finally like, fine, I'll buy my own truck.
It was great.
Yeah. See, this is, and then
but it changes,
It does. And I think when people realize that they just entered that and they realize that, hey, there's startup costs, right? There's startup costs to get your authority. There's startup costs to get insurance because you're out
costs nowadays.
Yeah, right. And there's startup costs, to get your load boards and to get the ways to make money. And businesses are something you have to continuously push at. And they're like children, right? You have to, but unfortunately, they never grow up. Right?
I'm definitely a child.
You're continuously teaching that child, moving that child, educating, moving forward. And I think truck drivers a lot of them get in because they want a red truck to be able to drive fast and take it home.
Right. And that's just a real thing.
Yeah.
So let's move into, and here's where we're going to throw some trust at you, Sage. How do we spot a bad broker? Let's, some guys are just now getting into it. Some guys have dealt with some fantastic brokers in the past, and maybe they wouldn't know that how good they had it there when they go to the average Joe Schmo, whatever, right?
So a good broker should know about their customer. I should like, if you call me, if I did post a load, I post as much information as I possibly can for you to know what's going on with that. When you call me, when you're first going to call me, you would call me and call my phone and say, hey, I'm calling about your load going from Houston, Texas to Syracuse. My first thing should not be money. If a broker's first statement is, it's paying $500, you better be careful with that one. Now, what my first conversation is, what type of equipment do you have? Well, I have a step deck. Okay, what's the deck height of your step deck? Is it a low pro step deck? Is it a 3-axle step deck? What are you pulling? So what I'm doing is I might say, okay, what type of truck do you have? And the reason I'm doing this is real truck drivers love talking about their equipment, right? I know you're a real truck driver. If you're like, oh, bro, I drive a Studio Sleeper Kenworth W9. Oh, okay, got it.
Some people drive Western Stars, whatever.
Exactly, right? I drive Western Star, right? So I'm interviewing. I want to know about
custom sleeper.
Right, exactly. So I want to know about your equipment first, because your equipment is what's bringing me value first, right? Will it work with my product? So when the broker basically starts to engage, you want to see how they're engaged. You don't want to talk money first, and you don't want them talking money first. That's the first thing. If that's the case, you're going to want to think about this. Okay, this guy it's all about the money here. It's all about the money. If he starts saying, "Hey, where are you at? How far away are you? Are you empty right now?" Things like that. How much you got left on your clock? Well, this is starting to be somebody that's a more knowledgeable broker. He knows that his customer might have a hot load. Does he know about his customer? Like, if you ask me anything about the freight, about how my customer loads, where, I'm going to tell you, hey, this is how they do it. This is where you pull in. You're going to pull in on the left side. It's going to be fiberglass pipe. It's going to be 6 pieces of fiberglass pipe, 2 elbows, 3 this, no tarp, straps only. I can rifle all that off to you. That means I'm knowledgeable about the customer in which I'm working with. If I'm more knowledgeable about the customer I'm working with, I'm going to demand more from you because I'm closer to that customer, right? If I'm just like, yeah, pay $1,600, most likely you're dealing with a customer service guy. You're not actually dealing with the agent that interacts with the customer, right? And you get a lot of this at the T to the Q to the L, yo, you know me. All right, so I don't want to say the actual numbers without singing it. So either way, so it's how that interaction works. Realize you're interviewing them, they're interviewing you. If the first thing they want to do is tell you that how much you're going to be paid, you're going to have to make a decision there. If they start telling you about the product, or you say, hey, what am I picking up here? Well, you're picking up this. Okay, what's the time? Can they answer your questions? Are they responsive? Are they respectful when, a business, are they acting in a manner that a business person should act, a professional should act? That's one. Because you'll get these brokers that are like, yeah, it pays this. You want it or not? Walk away. Walk away. I don't care how much you want that. Walk away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Understand that if they're going to act like that in a non-professional manner, then they're going to be that way the whole time. They don't care about their customer, obviously, because they're acting unprofessional with you, and you're going to be the representative that's going to like. I treat my drivers well because you're the representative that I'm sending directly to my customer.
Right.
Okay. You're it. Mm-hmm. You're my face. You're the man. You're going there. So my job is to make you happy. I do not want you angry going there. I don't want you upset that you took this.
Right.
So that's for me. I do legal freight also, but it's fall off freight. But I also do open deck. So when you're interacting with them, this is that interview. Would you hire this guy to work for you? That's what you kind of have to start to look at. Would I hire this broker, or would I probably want to reach through the phone and punch him in the face? It's either or, right?
Right.
You're like, man, this guy's good. He knows his crap. He's on the ball. He's got, this might be good. That's kind of what you want to look at. Would I hire this guy, or would I fire this guy? And because you're literally making that determination when you're hiring me to be your sales representative, right? I'm hiring you to be my carrier. So we're both interacting on that matter. And now it's quickly. Does he only want to contact you by text? Does he not want to talk to you? Like, I want to hear your voice. I want to talk to you. I want to interact. I want to know that you know your equipment. I want to know that you understand the load. I want to make that communication. If it's just like, email me, don't call me.
Yeah.
What?
That's my buddy.
You know what I'm saying? So it's those type of things that you have to look at. Would I hire this guy to be my sales manager? Would I hire him to be my representative for sales or marketing?
Right.
I don't think so, Tim. And that's when now, can you still take the load? Obviously. But it's one of those that you really, really, really want to be an investigator at that point and make sure that you're asking a whole lot of questions. So
I'm going to throw this up on the screen just because, and let me take this. By the way, phones are open. I see someone on there.
Yeah, call in.
Jennifer, hang tight. I will get to you. I see you there. Just give me just a minute and I'll pull you up. I think that's an interesting question from what I see. Let me get rid of this comment. So red flags, what to watch for? This is coming from our end of it. You tell me whether we're on the right track here or not. Unrealistic promises, a lack of communication, cheap or double brokering, right? Yep. And I think for some of us, it's hard to realize if that's happening, right?
So yeah, and let me rifle through this real quick. So understand that here's how freight is brokered. I have a broker MC number. My MC number is required to broker the freight. you have a carrier MC number. You're required to carry the freight. Okay. Now, how the FMCSA is written, it says that a broker, you have to be a broker to assist or to offer assist in regards to moving freight. So there's a co-brokering agreement. So either you can go from broker to carrier, broker to carrier, but a carrier can never change the contract and move the freight on to another carrier. Like they must carry it. Once they're given it, they must carry it. So a co-brokering agreement, I don't do a lot of them, to be honest, but I've had people do them with me because a co-brokering agreement means another broker contacts me and says, hey, we don't do oversized freight in any way, shape, or form, and we don't want to screw this up because it's a good customer. Can you assist? Well, I can assist and then they would give me, I'm not going to bill their customer direct. Like if you tried to get my customer, you are not getting into my customer. It's
Right.
they are not accepting new logistics companies, and it literally takes you about 6 months to get in. When you do, you have to go through contracts. Lawyers have to talk to each other. It's a mess. So
Right.
another broker might come to me and say, "Can you help us with this?" Well, I'm not going to bill their customer because I might not be able to, but I can go through them and assist. Right. So it's difficult to determine if a load's been co-brokered or double brokered, right? And this is a problem in the industry, which I do recognize it's a problem, right? Like I said, I will not I will not co-broker freight because I don't need to, but I have had people co-broker with me because they don't do what I do. So that's a difficult one to determine if it's double brokered or not. Now, some of the scams out there is if a load is completely unrealistically priced, what they're doing, a lot of times what they'll do with the scam is another broker will take the load pretending to be a carrier, and then they will repost it. Now, let's say the load pays $5,000. Well, they might post that for $10,000 to the truck because they're never going to pay you anyways. So they'll post it for 10, but when they bill, they're going to keep the 5,000 and walk away, and you get nothing anyways.
That sucks.
Yes, if it's an unrealistic price, you really want to be an investigator. Now, carriers should be having some type of credit checks. You need to have a way, either done in Bradstreet or whatever, to run credit. That's important. But that's a good one there. Hidden fees and sudden deductions. Read the contracts. Don't just sign the contracts.
Say that again.
Read the contracts. Don't just sign the contracts.
And for anyone that's slow, read the contract. Don't just blindly sign.
Correct. I even want people to just go through the contract, open it up, and look for anything that has a dollar sign near it and stop.
Right.
Even if you just do that.
Right.
Oh, crap, there's a dollar sign. What is that? Oh, $100 deduction for late fee. Got it. Right? If you see a dollar, I don't want to read all this. There's too many words. Look for dollar signs. Look for dollar signs. If you see dollar signs or numbers, stop there and see what how that dollar sign is going to affect you, right?
Oh, so, I got a good one for these contracts, and it may or may not be a good thing, but I'm telling you, it's been working for some things I've been running to it. ChatGPT. I know a lot of people hate AI and whatever, but I'm telling you, if you copy and paste the contract into it and say, I'm stupid, like I've literally typed these words, I'm stupid. Can you break down this contract for me in a way that my dumb, uneducated mind can process it? What are the pitfalls? What are the ups? Right?
Did they basically say, "Hey, are you truckers coach?" No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh my!
Shots fired. But yeah, you know what I mean. And at least it gives you a basic understanding. And when you don't understand things, look. So my ChatGPT is now named Echo because it knows me crazy. It speaks in my tone and everything else now. I've been using it so long. And I'm like, Echo, I don't understand what the hell you're saying here. And I literally type it that way.
Right.
I mean, I type like I talk, which is nerve-wracking to most people, but whatever. And it comes back and it's like, all right, slow your roll, Charlie. What this means, and let me get a purple crayon for you, literally has told me this.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw you a better picture. And then breaks it down. So there's just no excuse for not knowing what your contract is. And I mean, Jeff and I have seen it so many times. It's crazy.
One thing, I use Grok myself.
Yeah.
And one of the things Grok does whenever I do this is it has a disclaimer, Charlie. I don't know if GPT does.
Yeah.
That it is not a lawyer.
Right.
And that I should seek I should seek
Nope.
qualified legal advice.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's
I think
weird.
that's hilarious.
Says I am not a doctor. Seek mental help. Is that the same? That you don't have the same one? I wonder why I have that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah,
had
I
a
mean,
we had a
there's so many ways to do things like this, and just
we had
the
a
basics.
we had a minor victory, Sage, recently in our private Swift group.
Yeah.
And it's like a miracle to us, Charlie.
Yeah.
People are reading their contracts this year.
Thank God. It's important.
And they're discussing it. And,
Yeah.
and Charlie and I are like, well, that's been in the contract since I started contracting in 2006. But okay, you just now read the contract. I'm proud of you.
But good on you.
Absolutely. No, 100%, because I think what people need, you're a business owner now. You're a business owner. These contracts affect your livelihood.
Right.
That's why I'm telling you, it took 6 months. You can ask people, it took 6 months for them to take me for a company that I've been with for 17 years, because I ended up switching companies, to reapprove me for the same company that I've been with for 17 years, because I changed companies. 6 months. It went back and forth. I waited for lawyers. I sent it to this. I sent it to that. I'm like, drivers will literally read a 15-page contract and they send it back to me in like 2 minutes. I'm like, there's no way you read this, bro. I literally want to start sending contracts 1 page at a time.
Right.
Yep.
Just because I feel bad that it's like, I need you to read this. I need you to read this. I need you to read this. But you're right. This is the problem we have in this. And it is not, you're in business, and there are bad business people out there that will take advantage of you. Do you want to hear something? I had somebody come to me, 25-page contract to move something 25 feet tall, 25 feet wide, basically from San Antonio to Dallas, Texas, right? I had bucket trucks, I had police, I had power line companies, I had all this stuff. It was not cheap. Okay, I think we did $120,000 move for one.
Wow.
Move that in there with everything. You're paying these bucket trucks, it's day moves. You're doing like
Right.
$1,000 a day. In the contract that they sent me from this monstrous project management company, it said, "We will be paid. No, you will be paid when we are paid." No. I literally denied it, and I said, "I'm not doing it. You can sign my contract, but I'm not doing it under that term." I don't know. I don't know if you're ever going to be paid. I don't know if you're ever going to fight to be paid. I don't.
Right.
It's not going to happen. They did it under my contract, but it was a 25-page. I am not joking. I probably still have it. I'm not going to show it. I probably still have it. I was like, I'm not. You can sign mine. I'm not signing yours. But this is the stuff that can be hidden. Performance clauses can be hidden in your contract. How much is that performance clause? How much will you be billed? You can be billed for delivering early. If they change your appointment, I have been billed $3,000 because my truck delivered a day early, and they had to move the crane, they had to move the engineers. They didn't plan on that. Well, that was in the contract. Now, I told the driver that, and in my contract it states, if you don't notify me of either going to be late or be early, then we could face repercussions of back charges. And he didn't read my contract.
Right.
And he's being billed.
Oh man.
Stuff that's in there.
Real quick, Jennifer, I still see you there. I promise we're getting to you. We're almost to that point. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. Hang tight. I promise we're getting there.
That's something that drivers in general, not just business owners, need to understand is these performance clauses in contracts. Yes. Walmart will fine the carrier $1,000 for delivering earlier to a distribution center.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, the guard will let you in. They will let you drop that trailer, and then they will charge your carrier $1,000 for dropping a day early.
Right.
100%. I mean, they're not going to risk their freight not being delivered or something happens, so they're going to place it in there. But if you come in early, you are. Here's the thing: you are in possession of that freight when you're hauling it. You're in protection of it. You're in possession of it. It's your job to protect it and keep it that. If you're now handing that responsibility onto somebody else before that's their responsibility to take it, you're going to be charged for that. They're going to charge you for that. And this is the stuff that drivers need to understand this and read this, because brokers are being charged for that, and we're going to pass that on to you if we've instructed you of that. Now, that's the other thing too. You have to make sure you read the contract and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's my next danger question? Fire away.
Gonna move into the broker relationship thing. We touched on it a little bit, but we need to build relationships that actually work. So we got to be thinking about the long game here, so that we can stop chasing, the random freight, because we know consistency beats chaos, right?
Correct.
How to build broker loyalty and trust over time, and maybe some real examples of truckers who've leveled up by shifting how they work with brokers, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of the people that are here in the show, typically live with us, are contracted to mega carriers.
Yes.
That's the niche audience. We're reaching out further. We're expanding our grasp reach, is what we're trying to do. We have various levels of experience, and so you being in the world that you've been in, you've been in a much broader world, which is why we want to talk with you so bad about this stuff. Come back at me, bro.
Yeah. So when you're looking for that relationship with the broker, the goal of you is to get off the spot market, right? To get off, you should not be on DAT. You should not be on. Well, I use Truck Stop, but you should not be on these. Your goal is to build a relationship. Choose the broker that you would hire that broker. I would hire that broker. He did a good job. He was right about the freight. We were on time. He was responsive. So if that's the case, I would hire that broker. Once you hire that broker, you want to start thinking on that. How do I bring this vet broker more value? How do I get on his immediate call list? Like, I just text drivers. I pull up my thing and I shoot a text. Where you at? Right? You want to be on that list. I mean, some of the things you can do is be very responsive. Hey, be a good mood when you're going to the customer. A lot of times I've had drivers, basically the minute they get the bill of lading, they send me a picture of it. Hey, is this right? I mean, so far everything matches, but before I leave, I want you to have a copy of the bill of lading. I'm open deck. I have drivers take pictures of the load. You can take pictures from closed deck in the van. Hey, I'm all strapped down. I'm loaded. This is what I got. I'm leaving now. You got a copy of the bill of lading, that they handed me, signed by the shipper, signed by me. I'll be there on the following date. And then shoot them. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and touch base with the receiver, and make that call. Also understand that although you have the freight, the broker is still the guy who's paying your bill.
Right.
So he's still in charge, right? My shipper pays me, so they're still in charge. I'm paying you, so I'm still in charge. Always throw the ball back in the court to the broker. Let them make the mistake. And not that you're setting them up for failure, but just be like, hey, that bill of lading, is that good? Because I'm about to roll out. So either tell me no, or I'm going to go ahead and roll. Then you're giving that ball back to them, and now they're like, yep, good, you're good, roll out, thanks, let me know if you have any issues, or let me know where you stop, or whatever his requirements are.
Right.
You're now making my life easier. You're now making me look good. You're now presenting a professionalism to me that is above and beyond every other truck in that truck stop. You got to remember, you stop at night in that parking lot, paid parking or not, look around. That's your competition. That is your competition, not the broker. That's your competition.
Right.
You have to win the broker over all those other trucks. Can you do it? How do you do it? And once you learn how to do it, with, of course, establishing, you guys teach a lot of that, you're going to start to win more freight. You're going to start to get yourself off the load board and be offered dedicated runs, be offered regional areas, be offered. I pay more money. I'm not going to lie. When I first post them on the load board, it's bottom dollar. Because I got to see what I get. If you ran a business and you put a sign out in front, you're right, help needed, dishwasher needed, help needed. You're not going to pay manager money to somebody you have no idea who they are, who walks in the door after seeing a help wanted sign, right?
Hey, bro, I can wash dishes.
I can wash with the best of them. Watch out.
Look how clean my shirt is. I'll wipe it off with this one.
Exactly. So you start to pay way more money when that person starts to move up that chain and prove themselves within that company, right? And that's what you want to be. You want to say, hey, you have to realize that, man, this might not be the best rate, but it's going to get me someplace. But I know mine. And also know your numbers.
Exactly.
Know what you need. Yep. And if it breaks that, like if you need $1.20 and this is paying $1.70, might not be the best one. $2 might be better, but is this something that Elaine, I want to, did this broker respond? If you talk to me, my job is to sell to you. By the time I'm done talking to you, you're going to take my load. if you wanted it, because I'm going to answer all your questions. I'm going to let you know how it goes. I'm going to let you know what time they shipping and receiving goes from this. It's first come, first serve. You're going to want to get there at this time. Hey, guess what? There's a truck at the corner. There's a McDonald's with truck parking. You can park there. There's a hotel.
Right.
I know all this. So by that time, you're like, okay, this guy knows his crap. This is the type of broker I want to work with. And remember, that can be a small brokerage. That doesn't have to be the mega brokers, right? You can be that small broker that really needs that customer. So they need to do that, have you do a better job. Right. Next thing you know, you're doing that job, you're out there, and now you're building that trust with me that you're babysitting me. I don't want to go to anybody else. I literally want you to haul my freight, right? That's what you want me to be at the end of the day. So what happens is you give me the best load. Hey, I'm empty, got it all done. Here's a picture of the bill of lading. I'm going to go ahead and submit it to turn it in, the other way, but I wanted you to have a copy just so you got it. It's all signed. It's clean. No damages, over here. Hey, not only did I get him to sign, but I got him to print his name. His name was John Smith.
Right.
Because I have had freight lost. And I know we delivered it. And they're like, hey, do you guys know where you put that freight? Because it was 4 months ago. Now we need it, and we don't know where we put it. Who signed for it? Mike Johnson, John Smith. Jason Pote, wink, wink. So these are the people that,
mean face target receiver on dock in bad mood.
Yes, that one too. And this is,
I'm not going to lie.
Not going to lie. This is what wins. This is what basically wins relationships. You have got to be better than the last guy who called me. You've got to be better. Right. And, that's what starts to build that relationship. And once you got it, I don't want. Remember, you're fixing my problems. When you fix my problems, I don't want to let you go. You're my first call because you can fix my problem. You can use common sense. You can use critical thinking. You can be responsible. You're running a business. That's hard to. If you do 10% more than everybody else, you're going to win. It only takes 10%. Because everybody else can be whatever they're doing. 10% more will do it. Can we shut Sage up and so I can ask my question? No, Jenny in the bottom. No, I know who you are. Matter of fact, boot her. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Booted. Oh, wait, my bad. Just playing. So, cold calling, first contact, first load opportunity, consistent on-time performance, right?
Yep.
You want to be the guy they want.
Yes.
I mean, us from the trucking side, Sage or the broker wants to be the company that the shippers want.
Yes.
It takes us to make him look good. It takes him to help us look good and make that customer look good.
Right.
That's what the relationship is all about. Responsive communication,
yes.
Rate negotiations and feedback, getting to that priority or preferred carrier status. That's worth being twice up there because so my AI made that graphic and it put it up twice. And I was like, you know what? I actually like it up there twice because that's where I'm trying to get anyhow.
Yes. That's your goal. That's the end goal. That's it. I mean, this isn't just in the industry of logistics. Like when I entered into the insurance game, my goal was to be better than every other agent I could be, more knowledgeable, bring more value to the people calling me on the phone. Because hey, insurance can be expensive, but if I'm at least breaking down every aspect of insurance, if I'm talking truck, if I'm explaining to them their FMCSA filing, if I'm doing the best I can to find the best discounts I can, I'm giving more. I got to give more just in that field. And that's what I decided to do. That's it. So it's not something that's just related to brokering freight. It's all aspects of owning a business has a sales department. You have to sell. You have to market. You have to be better than the business next to you or they'll choose them. That's welcome to capitalism.
Right.
We're not communists yet. Welcome to capitalism.
Right.
Right.
I'll fight you over that one. We're gonna fight commies evil. Yeah. What makes the grass grow? Blood. What kind of blood? Commie blood. My bad.
I don't know what happened. It just got off the rails.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, I need a button. I got one button. That's all I got right now. I got nothing set up.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah.
We're gonna do this thing real quick that we do in the middle of every show, and it really makes me happy. Jennifer, I promise we are coming right back to you.
Maybe
you're gonna be first up. Here we go. Buttons push. Where'd it go? You're either running your business like an owner or like an employee, and if you're stuck in that employee mindset, you're leaving money on the table. Company drivers wait for direction. Business owners create opportunities. Company drivers chase miles and just drive. Business owners chase profits and know their numbers. Want to run a real business? Start tracking your numbers. Know your cost per mile and start saying no to bad loads. Drop I run a business in the comments if you're done thinking like an employee. If you want to take this mindset shift further, join the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs community at www.rwedrive.com, where we have profit boosting strategies, coaching calls, and real road warriors winning together. Winning. Jennifer,
Da-da.
it's bringing you in. You are on My Bad.
Hi, this is Jen in the bottle. How are y'all doing today?
Hey.
I am reaching out. I want to know about broker big rips out there and what the carriers. I do transportation collections. I help carriers get paid. And one thing I hear about from the carriers is these brokers taking big rips, taking 30, 40, 50% of a load. What do you think an appropriate percentage is?
So I do know Jenny, and she does do a lot of collection. So
Yes.
she has carriers that basically, if you need collection, she'll reach out and beat up on brokers. So yes, sometimes, like we talked about earlier in the show, sometimes brokers they'll get a good rip on a run, right? It happens. Just like I said, sometimes truck drivers will be like, "Holy crap, I got a good rip on this run," right? I mean, if at some time during COVID, I ended up paying $5, $6, $7, $8 a mile to move freight that I was moving for $2 during the COVID times, right?
Right.
These things happen. So, but in overall, even with companies like C.H. Robinson, who are publicly, public companies that show their numbers, it's not as big as you think sometimes, right? There's a lot of factors that can be built in. Like one of my loads, I might bill $125,000 for the load. Well, I got to pay buckets, I got to pay police, I got to pay,
Right.
I got to pay escorts, I got to pay the carrier, I got to pay all this other aspect of stuff. So, I think my numbers that I ran last year I was 18%. I was at an 18% overall.
I think that's fair.
You think? Well, I thank you for
I
that.
think that's fair as an average.
Yeah, and I did. That's my honest
No,
number.
I'm just saying that there's going to be some loads that might be hard to get into or whatever. Some places might be hard to get in. You might lose money on a load. You've got to make it up somewhere. So, I mean, if your average is 18%, then if your average is 18%, I think that's a pretty fair percentage to be asking or be taking from those loads.
Like I said, and there are times that somebody might say, "Hey, I'm going to make this a big rip," but the issue is that might be the only load they move in a month, right? Because you don't walk into 100 loads a week. You don't walk into these customers and they're just going to be like, "Here's 1,000 loads, go get it." No, basically, it's a lot of times where it's like, "Hey, I got one load. Yes, I worked 6 months and I got one load. I won a load. I'm going to move this one," and that's the only load they move that month. And this is the things that happen, the reality of it behind the curtain
Of the evil freight broker.
Oh, you made me tinkle.
You know what I'm saying?
And how do you feel about the broker transparency?
I hate you. I hate you, Jenny in the bottle. I
Bring
literally
that mess up.
I hate
Well,
you.
if she didn't bring it up, I was going to bring it up, Sage.
Right.
I am. We I hate all of you. I am not a broker. So for me, I don't believe it is something that you're entitled to. Now, do I give broker transparency to the carriers that I've been? Some of my carriers I've been with for 12 years, right? So am I giving that opportunity, saying, "Hey, but I'm different." When I go to my carrier, here's the problem I have. If I post a load for no money on the board, no one will call me because they have no idea what to quote. They have no idea what it should pay. They have no idea. If I post a load for $1,000 on 1,000 miles, they call me up and they say, "No, you son of a, what the hell?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, I just wanted you to call me to give me a price. I just need a price.
Right.
Give me your price. Well, I'm not even going to give you a price. No, okay, just give me. So so understanding your numbers is way more important than understanding my profit numbers, right? If you don't even know, like, and for me, it's like, okay, well, what's your profit? Well, I make a profit at $1.50. Let's use a simple number. Well, I'm now paying. Well, but you want $3 a mile. Isn't that 100% markup? So you literally want. It's okay for you to take that 100% markup on a load,
Right.
but you're worried about my numbers. So for me, when I look at broker transparency, I sign NDAs, which I can't relinquish how much money that the customer's paying because they have competition and nobody wants this money to get out, right? Loose lips sink ships. If you ever know this in a business, loose lips will sink ships on how much everybody makes and all this other stuff. So for me, even if I said, okay, how much is too much money? If I were to say how much is too much money, and I were to say, well, oh, how much are you making? What if I said I made 40% on this load? Well, that's too much. Well, my first question is, what's my value?
Right.
If a customer calls you direct and says, hey, I've got 100 loads to move and you've got one truck, can you do it? Because the last thing you want to say to a customer is no.
Right.
We'll find someone that will say yes. Okay. So then you can't do that. Well, what if they come to you and they say, hey, look, you can move this one load, but I also need this quote to this load tomorrow too. Can you do that one? Well, no, because I won't be back by that time. Okay. Well, then you can't do it. Okay. Well, what about this rail quote? I got stuff that has to go by rail. Can you handle that, truck driver? Well, no, I can't do that either.
Right.
Fine. I got some stuff coming in from China. Is there any way you can get it picked up at the port and get it shipped? Well, no, I can't do that either. Well, what value are you bringing me?
I once got this rash cream, and I can get
right.
Oh,
So
my
what
bad.
you have to look at is you bring value to the broker. Drivers and get pissed off at me. That's why I'm wearing body armor. I don't care. I got a window over here though. I got to be careful.
Right.
You bring value to the broker. You do not bring value to a direct customer unless you're a bigger carrier. I'm talking small carriers now, right? So your best relationship is with that broker. But and I find this hysterical. It's like, so let's say I told you I have $3,000 in the load. I got two of you. I got $3,000 in the load. That's all. That's what I'm billing the customer. And I say I got a load going from Houston to Syracuse. It's 1,500 miles. I go to Charlie. Charlie, how much will you do that load for?
Yeah, I don't know.
Give me a number.
$2,000.
$2,000. Jeff, what are you going to do it for? Charlie's going to do it for $2,000. Can you beat Jeff? Jeff, can you beat him?
Well, if I know what he's trying to get, I can underbid him by $100.
I'm telling you what he's giving. Telling you he's
right.
bid.
So no, I'll do it for $1,900.
I'll give you $19.99. There you go. You've beat him. Roll out. $1. You see,
right.
Even when you have this opportunity, that it still becomes a bidding war to the bottom. You drive it to the bottom, right? But then also, if I'm giving you broker transparency, because the big thing from Noah,
right,
they wanted broker transparency after 48 hours. To do what with it? What were you going to do with it? Remember, if I'm giving it to you, I'm also giving it to your competition.
Right.
So if you think you're going to, and so if you want your competition to have the same information so they can underbid, good luck. Because you're already complaining that they're hauling cheap freight now. So now what they're going to do is they're going to make more money as long as they underbid you. They can make more money, but still underbid you.
Right.
You see? And then I bring these questions to them, and it's like, well, I don't bid per load. Like when I move a load, I might move a project. It might be 7 trucks. I might bid 7 trucks at $150,000. Right. I don't bid per load. If you think that C.H. Robbins is bidding per load on 1,000 loads a month, they're not.
Exactly.
They're not. Mm-hmm. They're bidding what the cost was quarterly, monthly, whatever it is. So this is what's going on behind the scenes. So if my question was always is what are you going to do with it? And then this is the best one. So let's say I go to my customer and I say, hey, I go to how much for this lane? $3,000. You move it for $2,000, and you're like, and I make 1,000, and you're like, oh, you made too much money. You need to get more. But the problem is I don't have a duty to give you more money. I have a responsibility to give it back to the customer. So even if you think you should have got more, I just can't give you free money. Right. I just can't do that because you think that you deserve more. You gave me the $2,000. If I went to my customer and the customer's like, well, how much did the carrier say they were going to do it for? $2,000. Well, how much did you pay him? $2,500. Wait, what? You gave an extra $100 of my money when they only wanted that? It should have went back to them. So it's not going to go to the carrier. It's going to go back to the customer because the customer.
We could flip this back on us, right? Yeah. So, broker says, "Well, what's your average cost per mile? What's your truck cost you to sit there and not move today?" And I'd say, "Well, $138 for my truck not to be turned on today. It's what it's going to cost me for the day to sit there and do nothing." So I'm going to give you $300 a day.
Yeah.
plus a fuel surcharge. How's that, bro?
Right.
Well, you don't need more than that because you're doubling your cost, right?
Yep.
Right.
And I'm giving you a surcharge on your fuel. You don't need more than that.
Right.
Why should I pay you more than that? That's all you need, bro.
Exactly. I mean,
I don't want someone telling me.
right. And this is the thing with broker transparency is fine. Okay, I show it to you. What are you going to do with that information?
Right.
You don't bring enough value to a customer. You
Right.
bring value to me. So you want to bite the hand that feeds you? Okay.
Right.
I mean, that's what drivers need to understand. Now, you can open a brokerage and you can, but that, like I said, that information will be posted online for everyone to see and they will drive the prices down.
Right.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is where the confusion lies. And it's like, I hear this, well, we want better pricing for this. Okay. If you lose the load for $100, you've still lost the load.
Right.
So at this point, you still lost the load. So for me, I don't want to know what your costs are. I want you to tell me how much to haul my freight.
Exactly.
I don't care what your cost. Just give me your price. And I think the hardest thing drivers do is they literally cannot or won't. If I say, hey, what do you need to haul this load? What do you need to haul this? I don't know. What are you paying?
Right.
How many times you walk into, do me a favor. Next time a plumber comes to repair something in your house, say, look, man, I got $5,000 on my credit card. Let me know what your bill is.
Right.
He literally doesn't come into your home and say, well, I took a look at your bathroom. How much money do you got in the bank?
Right.
How much money is on your credit card? Then I'll give you my bill.
Oh my God.
What? What is wrong with you? I don't.
Sounds like a Swift shop.
Your credit card.
Okay.
I'm going to come in and say it's this much.
Swift shop. What?
Swift shop say what?
Okay, my bad. There, Jennifer.
I know her. She's evil.
Yes, sir.
What else you got?
Nothing. Hang up on her. Why is she still on the line? Go ahead.
No, you don't hang up on me.
I can mute her. That's always fun.
What
Look,
you got?
Now she can't talk. She's
Yeah.
muted. Okay, I'll unmute her.
Oh,
You're welcome back.
Yeah.
don't mute me.
What's going on?
So what else you
I
got?
just try to hold Sage accountable a little bit because we have the opportunity to pick the broker mind right here.
Right.
So, if you hand me a contract and I read it and I go through it like you asked me to, and I don't agree with something and I want to redline something, are you still going to use me as a carrier?
It all depends. To be honest, it all depends. So some of the people realize that a small brokerage, let's say like mine, or a small broker that you could possibly interact with the actual broker, understand the person on the phone is just a customer service agent sometimes, right? They have no authority over the brokerage. Sometimes you're dealing with a broker agent. They are not the broker. So if you are dealing with me, the broker, or a smaller brokerage that you could actually get to the broker, he might look at those changes and be like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that, right? If you're dealing with a large brokerage that has corporate...
What if I wanted to add something in?
Okay. Same thing. Same thing. If you wanted to add something in, if you're dealing with a large brokerage that basically says, hey, we have corporate lawyers, it's going to have to go through the corporate lawyers before anybody can make any changes in any way. That's just the way it's set up. So it kind of depends on who you're working with. And to make that happen, to be honest.
That would fall back to that relationship thing, though. If you built a relationship with a broker, which hopefully you're trying to do, and that's your goal, they're gonna start realizing, okay, Jenny's a pain in my backside. Not really, but if you come with the right attitude and the right mindset,
absolutely.
Say, hey, I get that. You've got these requirements. This is maybe a small thing to you, but it's a big thing to me to meet my end of it. Could we talk about this?
Yeah.
And if they say no, then you make a decision, right? You're like, well, okay, maybe the next time we can work something out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that
Sage and I have always rebutted these things out between each other. These are just things I'm putting out there that I hear from carriers.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I tell my carrier clients, hey, you need to build better broker relationships. And this industry was built on relationships and handshakes and getting to know the person you're doing business with. And just calling up and saying how much you got in this load and slamming the phone down isn't at all vetting the broker. Right. Just as much as that broker's interviewing you to haul his load, you're interviewing him to pay you, basically. And so if you don't know who you're doing business with any more than he does,
Correct.
You know, you don't have a good relationship, and you might get the shaft on that one.
Right.
Absolutely. And I tell you, just so you know, Justin, you know who you are. You're fired.
Fired.
So, yeah, he's he basically said I had derangement syndrome, and he's one of my producers on my show, and so I just fired him.
Nice.
Wimpy McPote is actually my cousin, so he's messing with me down there. We're actually related.
Oh, I didn't know
Like,
that.
are you for real on that?
But that's all I really had to throw out there for Sage. So I'm
Okay.
gonna jump off here, guys. It was good talking with y'all. I had a lot of fun. So
Hey, Jenny,
we'll talk
thanks.
next time.
It's
Thanks.
cool that I actually got to talk to you this time here and not on Narc's show because, you know, I just type and whatever.
Yeah, she's good. You should have her on too.
Yeah.
You should
Hey,
have her-
Brett, if you're out there watching, bye.
Hey, you can come on
All
and
right.
talk too anytime. Let
Yeah.
me know when you want to do something, Jenny.
Get on the show.
Hey,
Jeff. All
set
right.
it up. I'd love to.
Okay, doke.
That's another service you could put in your back pocket. There's collections in case carriers need
Right.
collections. Just so you know.
And that's a thing people don't really understand is you know, net 90. Oh my God.
Yes.
Bro.
And what does that mean? Like, hang on a second. Hey, Wimpy, tell Aunt Susan that I'll call her later. Just so you know, well, I'll explain this stuff later. You guys know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Wimpy is such a shining piece of
Listen,
sunshine.
we're not close cousins, right? But we're related. And my aunt, I love my aunt. She's great, right? And he's just sometimes he gets over. We fight all the time. We joke around all the time. He's a little jealous of my success and his failure. But hey, we're family. It happens. You know what I'm saying?
You know, people like being company drivers, whatever. I get it. You know?
Oh, I applaud it. You know what I mean? Some people that like the home time, that like the consistency and the money and stuff. Absolutely. If that's
And
what
they
you want.
just like having something to bitch about.
Well, that too.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Roger.
Ida, what's up, Ida? Hey, lady. Hey, now. Ida's the lady that runs my account at Target, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? Hi, Ida.
She came in here to probably cause problems for me because I'm not working this week and whatever. I love you.
Oh,
but-
we haven't seen him. He's sick.
Right.
I don't know if it might be. We haven't seen him in a while. He's probably sick. He's probably in bed, just taking medicine. Go ahead.
Oh my God. But yeah, so I mean, if you guys got any other specific questions, I actually have some starred that we need to go back to, Jeff. Where'd they go?
I don't know. They're in the start.
Here we go. Let's throw that one up. What is the average percentage of broker offers a driver?
The percentage of that. What is the average percentage a broker offers a driver? I don't really understand.
I
So
think
this
he's
is-
asking like, how are you trying to get over on us?
Oh,
I-
yeah. Okay, I get that. So a couple things you want to understand. So if you're dealing with, when I had my brokerage, brokerage, you're dealing directly with me. So whatever, if it's, let's use simple numbers. So let's say I have $2,000 or now remember, for me, it's different. So you would come to me and I'd say, how much do you move this load for? And you would say $3,000. I'd be like, okay, I'll call you right back. I would then call my customer and say, let's use simple numbers, and say $4,000. Right? We're using simple. I like simple
Right.
numbers. And then the customer would say, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Now I have to sell you to my customer. I'd say, hey, he's a good driver, he's a good communicator, he's got a good safety rating, his equipment, he's empty, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then I go back to you and I say, okay, it's a deal. Let's rock and roll. I pay you $3,000. I make $1,000. Right? It's that easy. So understand that that's how it works for me. Now, when you're dealing with someone else, like I love when people say that, brokers have no skin in the game. Brokers don't pay the buff.
Right.
And my first question is, I would say to them, do you think you have a larger payroll than TQL?
Okay.
Do you think you have a larger business, price for your brick and mortar building than TQL? Do you think you have a larger tax? Do you think you have so they have skin in the game, right? But a lot of times, even if you're dealing with an independent agent, that independent agent would make, let's just use simple numbers, 60% of the difference of that $1,000. So they would get $600 of that $1,000, and then $400 would go to, let's say, the agents, the brokerage, right? If you're an outside agent. Now that from that $600, they have to pay their bills, pay their home, do everything they have to do. That's their living money. That's their money. So it depends on the percentages. Depend on who you're working with. If you're working with a smaller direct broker or brokerage, they might be able to take less because they don't have a labor of a TQL. They don't have a brick
Right.
mortar of a TQL, right? But there are things that TQL has to pay for. They have to pay for labor. They have to pay for electricity. They have to pay for computers. They have to pay for taxes. They have to pay for the building. They have to pay for all this. Workman's comp. And this is all factored in. So when drivers are like, oh, you have no skin in the game, all you do is answer the phone. Really? Come pay TQL's labor cost. Think about how much that is. I mean, you can run their numbers and see how much they're paying off. They're public companies. So it kind of depends on who you're working with. So it's a hard question to answer. TQL might have to take a bigger rip than I would have to take to be able to maintain the money, because I'm not as large as I wasn't as large as TQL. You know what I mean? So I ran a lot of it myself for a long time, but I did have employees and I did have a carrier at one time also, right? So it's hard to say how much that rip is. My question to you would be, how much is your average profit over your numbers? Right? What's your profit on your numbers? Like, I never worry about how much you're making. I never think to myself, man, I wonder how much that fucking driver's making. Right? Question is basically I don't ask my customer, hey, how much you making on this? God, I don't. I would never do that. So it's understanding, what are your numbers. Like, if I come to you and you're $1.50 and I'm paying you $3, are you worth 100% markup? Yes, at that time you are, because the load got done. Right now, in the end, I might say I'm never going to take that guy again because he wasn't worth the price he charged me, right? Or I might say, yeah, that guy did a good job. That guy did a good job. I'm calling him back. But I don't. I think a lot of businesses don't worry about one another. Real businesses don't worry about what other businesses make. They only worry about how they can get more money and get more customers. If you're focused on what everybody else is making, you're not focused on how you can make more.
There's so much to focus on in your own damn business.
Correct.
Let's just be real. Hey, look, that's true in life. Look, I'm just gonna say it. Mind your business. Cultivate your garden.
Yes.
Just saying. Johnny Callie asked pretty much the same question. What's the average percentage you take when you broker a deal between a client and a trucker? So I think we covered that one pretty good.
Overall, mine was 18.
Right, 18% was a good number, and I think that's a fair number. I mean, look. So Jeff and I can tell you, whether you've seen this or not, Jeff and I will always say, I don't care what you make on the load. So Sage.
Yes.
I don't care.
Correct.
I care if I'm satisfied with what I'm making on the load.
Yes.
I love the talking about load boards. The all-in rate. Here it is. This is what we're paying. Take it or leave it.
100%. And understand that. Here's another thing I get a lot too. We could go on for hours. Here's another thing I get a lot too, is understanding fuel surcharge. So a fuel surcharge is giving on a contract rate that has been negotiated, that the base pay is set. So let's say it's $2 a mile. That's the base pay. The fuel surcharge is given either on a weekly or 2 weekly change, depending on what the national average is. And it might go up a penny, it might go down a penny, whatever the fuel does, it does. That's fuel surcharge. When you take a load, right? When you take a load off the spot market, the fuel surcharge is all in. Like you should be calculating how much all of it is for you to get there. Not right. It's you're telling me $3,000 to do this. I can send that as, I don't care how you take it. I can send it as 1,000 for base and 2,000 for fuel. I don't care. In the end, you're getting 3,000 because that's what you're billing me.
Exactly.
So a lot of people understand. Okay, where we got? Go ahead, fire away.
Trucker Tim said, okay, I always thought the customer paid X for the load. The broker then determines how much of X he's keeping while the rest of X goes to the driver.
To be completely honest, like, no, the customer's the final say. Like, everybody's like, oh, the truck driver set the rate. No, the customer sets the rate, because either the customer is the one with the money, right? They're the one paying me to pay you. So 90% of the time we do what's called an RFQ or RFP. I used to call it RFQ. I'm old school. Is basically a request for quote, request for proposal, right? And we submit these bids yearly, right? And when we submit these bids, I say we put in bids that how much we can do this lane for. And then we get a carrier, we reach out to our network of carriers and we say, hey, we got a bid. What can you do this for? Do you want it dedicated? We do all this stuff. They set the price. So if the price is $2 a mile, I might say, well, I'm going to do $2.25 a mile plus fuel to the customer. I'm going to make 25 cents a mile. I'm using simple numbers now to make everybody don't get Don't do the math and be like, holy crap, you're taking just simple numbers. Now that also covers things that possibly I might have a detention, right? The customer only pays $75, but you want $100. Well,
Right.
I have fluctuations in there that I don't want to bill my customer more. So a spot load might be somebody fell off that load. I already have a rate, but you might want more than that normal rate. That's things like that. But when I send RF. Customer sends how much to do this. I respond back with rates. Customer says yay or nay. That the customer's deciding. They might say, no, that's too expensive. We'll sign something else. Fire away. What was the last one we got rid of? Did you get rid of it?
He was giving you a hard time. It was Blindside.
I
I always thought brokers work on 100% commission. That's what Blindside said.
Yes. For Blindside, we do. That's because his
Right.
truck. When you have a truck driver that can't figure out how the DEF system works, like Blindside, because he's having a problem with his DEF system,
Nice.
we get 100% commission because we have to then teach you how to run your DEF system. Go ahead.
The blue nozzle goes into the little tiny hole
with the blue cap.
with the blue cap.
Blue to blue.
That's
You
an
said.
obscene gesture. I
Blue?
apologize for that one.
Oh God. Go ahead. I love
Don't put the tiny nozzle in the giant hole. That's bad. And the giant nozzle doesn't fit in the little hole, not even if you spit on it.
That's bad. Where did this go?
What just happened here?
Okay.
Jeff, I'm sorry, Donna. I love you.
Wow.
Chris Hamilton, I'm too much of a pushover. I want to keep everybody happy. Yeah, look, that's a thing. And that can, look, there are people out there that will absolutely take advantage of that.
Okay, so what I want you to convert that into is you're not a pushover. You want to bring as much value as possible, but you should be paid for that value, right? It's not sometimes keeping happy is making sure you're going to, you know what I tell my carriers? I need you to stay profitable because if you go broke, I'm in trouble because my best carriers are now going broke. So I need you to be profitable.
Especially mid-load.
Correct. So when a broker basically will start to establish a relationship, they'll start to be like, hey, what do you think about this price? What do you think about this price? You need to know your numbers to stay profitable and make sure that you inform the broker that, not tell them that what your numbers are, but say, yeah, that load will work for me, or no, I'm probably looking to get this much because of this, this, and this.
Right.
But what I can do is, we can sell it to your customer by making sure you can go ahead and tag me for tracking. You can do this, you can do that, right? So you need to know your numbers. The most important thing is don't know who cares what I make? Know your numbers to stay alive. Right?
Well, and that's the whole thing that Charlie and I have said for years about don't haul cheap freight. Well, what's cheap freight?
Exactly.
I have yet to have anybody define to me what cheap freight is. One guy, we see guys on all the time that pull a number out of their butt, and it's obvious. I can't haul for anything less than $3 a mile. Okay. What kind of overhead do you have if you need $3 a mile?
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, and I have the same conversation. So here's the problem. I had a step deck, not a problem, but I had a step deck that was a specialty trailer that was built that had a 2-foot deck height and open wheel wells in the back. And it was only a 30-ton trailer. It couldn't haul weight, right?
Right.
It was perfect for hauling fiberglass tanks. I could put 2 tanks on one trailer. I had a 40-foot bottom deck, right? It was perfect. But it was bad for hauling backhauls back, right? Because I couldn't put any weight on it because it wasn't designed for weight. So I might make $10 or $12 a mile out of my customer, but my driver would say, look, man, don't worry about the mule, just load the wagon. He never wanted to come back empty. He never wanted to pay to come back. So what we would look for would be LTL freight or cheap freight. I would just tell the broker, hey, this is my specialty trailer. Here's a picture. He's like, well, this is cheap. I'm like, I just made $10 out. I just need to get back quickly. I need to get quickly. My guy's got more loads to haul for $10. So am I hauling cheap freight? Or am I keeping my driver from going under while going back?
You're one of those SOBs that's driving down the market stage, and you should hang your head in shame because you're a bad man.
I am, but let me ask a question then. Like you said, what's cheap freight? If you need $3 a mile, and I go to the broker and say, well, I'll do it for $2.95, I still beat you. You're still out. And so it doesn't matter if I'm beating you by a nickel or if I'm beating you by $1, you're still losing. So either you got to figure out why your number is so high and why you need to make that to be profitable, because you got to either bring more value for that. What are you going to give me for $3? Because $3 a mile, what are you going to do for me that guy next to you can't do? So
I pissed so many people off a couple months back because they were complaining about empty miles to loaded miles, right? And I said, I went through and I did some math one day, and math makes people crazy because they can't argue it, but they still try. And I calculated that if my carrier said, "Hey, we don't have a load for you in Florida today. We want you to deadhead pull our trailer all the way to Seattle from Florida. We're only going to pay you 85 cents a mile.
Yeah.
Let us know when you get there." I said
can't-
I would actually do it.
Yeah, that's. What was your
Because at the time we had people that were sitting for a week, week and a half.
Should have called me. I would have put your trailer on the rail, and we would have been a little profitable. But
Right. But get this, at 85 cents, I still showed a profit after fuel, after full truck, everything all in. It wasn't a great profit. It was a couple $100.
Yeah,
I sat there at $137 a loss a day.
Yeah, I had a guy. He was a Russian guy back when oh Jesus Christ, probably 2008. And we had loads that I could get guaranteed for Landstar, right? It was a Landstar driver, guaranteed from Landstar, that I would get them from C.H. Robinson. And they were paying $1 a mile coming out of Maine, going to Indy, right?
Right.
I had a guy call me, say, "I'll take every one of those, every single one of those."
Right.
I eventually asked him, I'm like, what do you got going on? He's like, this literally, I haul $5 in, $6 in at times. It literally drops 30 miles. It picks up 30 miles from where I'm going, and it literally drops across the street from my customer. I literally, I'll take and my customer has constant direct freight delivering. I think he was doing like I don't know, something real light too.
Right.
It's like canoes and like kayaks and stuff like that. It he was literally stuff like something like that, right? But he took it. So was he taking cheap freight? Or did it cover his fuel to get him back so he was profitable on both sides of the story?
Right.
And he was. And that's how you stay profitable on both sides of the story. Pick up, delivery, if you're going back. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like my cousin wouldn't start his Toyota for $2. I wouldn't pay a Toyota. I wouldn't pay a Toyota $2 a mile. It brings me no value. See, he's my cousin. He's supporting me. Right. Thanks, cousin.
Oh God. Blindside actually said he fixed Sage OTR diagnostics saved the day again. That thing is amazing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what Narc told him to do. Thank God we have Narc. Narc actually hooked him up like a tow truck without actually towing him. You know what I'm saying?
Ida said, I agree. I pay more than most accounts to run dependable contractors and give my customer the service they expect and secure our spot on the account. Don't worry about what the other guy is making. Exactly.
Absolutely. She literally, like I said, she's literally, and I bet you she wasn't here earlier, that she's got drivers off of the minimum wage load board, right? She's hired them from minimum wage or to temp agency, and she's brought them into her network. And now those drivers are worth more. They know how I want things done. I know how they want things done. We've built that they know they can see things. They go to my customers. They go to the same customers, and they're worth more to me. So I pay them more.
Right.
So this is the account, Sage, I was telling you about the contract rate for people that actually sign her contract is a much lower rate than our, big carrier standard OTR rate.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of convenience for a lot of people. They don't want to run more than Florida or Georgia, Alabama, right? And they want to be home on a regular basis. They have reasons for doing that. So they pay that. I went there and said, well, I would like to, work 4 days a week, whatever. I think when I started, I was like 5 days a week. Now it's, could be 2 days a week. Who knows? But when I'm there, any load they send me, not to say that I don't bitch about it when I see what it is, I automatically just accept loads.
He does.
I don't care where it's going.
He calls me to bitch about it.
Right. And every now and then I'll be like, oh my God, I'm going to Atlanta. I hate you guts, and I still love your face. Because I absolutely hate Atlanta. I can't help it. It just I turn aggro there. I prefer running our Alabama stuff, and it works out. But they also know that I'm going to be on time. If there's a way to be on time,
Yeah.
and or early, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
And the stores have come to know me for that. And when I get on their dock, I mean, every now and then she's had to handle a couple calls on me, because inappropriate things came out of my mouth after they triggered me, whatever.
Yeah.
But I call her right away. Hey, look, here's another thing.
Yeah.
I call her and let her know about the problems before they blindside her.
Yes. Yeah. That's a huge. Listen, if you can front load me before somebody comes shooting at me, and let me get my vest on.
Right.
That's a huge. Remember when we talked about solve my problems? Solving my problems is letting me
Exactly.
know something could happen before it happens.
Right. And a lot of people just don't, they don't process that. They don't think about that. They say,
Yeah.
oh, it's whatever. It's just this is stupid. I'm just gonna wait till someone calls on me next week, and I don't even remember what the hell just happened.
Don't set your customer or your broker up for failure, and you will win big. You will win big if you don't do that for them.
But like with Ida, it's I do make more per mile than a lot of the contract people. But no, I don't even care. I'm just like whatever. But I don't say no. She knows where my limits are, what my schedule, my availability typically is. I mean, this year's been a little wacky so far with all the family stuff going on, but for the most part, she knows if I say I'm going to be there, I'm there.
Yeah.
If I got to drive 70 miles an hour, which I hate doing,
right,
to make sure that this is right, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, that's the I pay more part for quality.
Correct.
And she absolutely knows she can depend on Rosie and myself. My wife Rosie, she drives teams with me. She drives nights.
Yeah.
And and because of that, there were several accounts around the country that were actually after me because my thing was to fill in a surge driver. I refuse to sign anybody's contract other than my basic OTR contract because they're always less. And I think I'm worth more. So I make sure I provide the value to back up what I'm charging. Right.
I tell this to my cousin Wimpy all the time, man. And you should see Christmas parties all the time. He's sitting there and he's trying to figure this out. And I go over this with him. And sometimes just drivers don't realize that. Wimpy's one of those guys. He just doesn't realize the importance of bringing value. Right.
Right.
He doesn't even bring gifts for Christmas. Like he literally doesn't. But we're supposed to buy gifts for everybody during Christmas.
Who's the douchebag now?
Yeah, Wimpy doesn't even pitch in for the Santa. Like, hey, you're supposed to everybody pitch in and do this and buy gifts for different people, and we get to select. He won't even buy gifts for Christmas. I don't know. Family's family. Sorry, brother. I didn't mean to put that out there, Wimpy, but I love you. You're family.
We're gonna bust his chops over that one now for a while. Yeah. Can't even chip in on the Christmas.
God. Well, it's all right though. It's just some guys.
You expect it. Look. Never mind. I'm not going there. I was about to go somewhere that I shouldn't go. Jesus. Train
Good on you, Charlie. Good on you.
Yeah.
Jeff, fix me. I can't stop. Do something.
Yeah.
Why you put me on the spot again?
Because
I'm enjoying the conversation here.
I'm gonna take us off the rails, bro.
It happens. It happens.
Putting things in there every once in a while to keep it going.
He didn't get his bonus last month. I'm sorry, but that might be true. No, I think one of the ways that people, carriers can and drivers can really excel is knowledge of the industry. Understand how the industry is working, right? Understand, okay, what's my job? What am I doing? What's a lease contractor? How do I run my business? How do I set my business up? I should be marketing. I should be doing sales. Like for me, if you send me your email that you send me, better have a signature. It better have a signature, and that signature better be you, your name, you're the owner of the business, your DOT number or MC number, your contact number. Like it should have that. And that should be on every single conversation, right? Back and forth. I get emails that are just, hey, load, Texas, New York, how much? Right. And it's like, what is this? And no signature. I have no idea who you are. You have a Gmail account. It's like, yeah, I'm going to respond back to you, right? And so I actually talked to one guy that he eventually called me, and he was a good driver. And I'm like, why the hell do you not have a signature? Who sends this? Right. He's like, well, most brokers respond back to me that way. I'm like, well, be better than them, right?
Exactly.
You want to be a signature. You want to respond in a professional business manner. You want to have this set up, and you can set it up to auto reply both on replies and on your first emails.
Are you cracking on me because the email I sent to you didn't have a signature other than it said Charlie at the end?
Probably.
You
Bro,
bastard.
I swear, I literally thought I was being spammed by somebody in some country that wanted
That's
to
fair.
get out of some type of. Hey, this prince has been deducted. He's been deported, and we want to bring him
Right.
back. The Prince of Jamaica, and I'm like, what the hell? No, I'm just
Click
kidding.
this link.
Click this link. So I think that's a big portion is understanding that you're running a business and it should act like a business, right? Do you get emails from professional businesses the way you're sending them, right? The other thing is
That's a good point, Sage. Is that to professionalize your trucking business?
absolutely.
Stop the amateur hour. To your point, he's got a Gmail account. It only costs like $120 a year.
Yeah.
To get your own
.com.
URL,
Yeah.
your own .com.
Yep, for emails. You're getting a domain, and then from that domain, like I have a domain, you don't even have to website. You now own that domain, which you can now get an email extension to.
Yeah.
Google Workspace. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then once you set your signature, it's just there.
It's just there. And you're now starting to establish yourself. You want business? You look at LinkedIn. You got to get on LinkedIn. I don't like LinkedIn. I know I'm probably not a LinkedIn type of guy. I'm just saying.
Right.
But either way, you want to get in that LinkedIn account. You want to get seen. You want to get out there. That's marketing, right? Set your business up. Respond with a proper email. Don't have a Gmail account. And these are the things that you have to do to set your business up. Right? You're not just a trucking company. You're a business in the world of logistics, and one spoke is trucking. But eventually, you might open a brokerage. Eventually, you might open up, a final mile type carrier outside of this. Like there's extensions. You might have a construction company off of that business, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of other things that you can have off of that business, but it starts with professionally setting up your business to establish that I stand out from the crowd.
Right.
Everybody saw The Matrix, and everybody saw the woman in the red dress that turned his head. Next thing you know, he's being shot by the guy. This is your opportunity to be that woman in the red dress and stand out from the crowd. You can't.
Speaking of women in red dresses,
to stand out.
Wimpy drew a picture in my head.
He wants his fish
fishnets and heels.
Bro, we talked about that. I'm gonna have to call your aunt and see if you're still seeing their therapist. I'll call Aunt Susan.
I'm broken right now. I'm having visions that aren't pleasant.
He's always been like this. Like I said, usually it's Thanksgivings and Christmases that when we all get together. He's a good guy though. He is. But that's kind of where you start too. So because if you're establishing yourself, because you're setting the look, right? You're coming at me with a professional email and a professional in that I'm now going to try to act professional back to you, right? You come at me with the other stuff, and then unfortunately, dumb brokers lower themselves to that, which they shouldn't, but they do, and but that's what you don't want to do. You got to be above them. You got to stand out in the crowd, and you got to be better than the rest. And like I said, and every time I open everything I've ever done with business, it doesn't matter if it's brokering freight, driving the truck, being a carrier, being a Landstar driver, even in now learning insurance, and getting a quote to a carrier, I want to stand out from the crowd. I want to stand out. Like I said, I mean, and I'm not just pushing the insurance thing. It's a big deal for me to know, to make sure that I stand out. When you call me, I stand out. I'm going to either give you enough trucking information or enough insurance information. I'm going to break down everything I can. And that's it's that mindset. And even though I'm a W-9, right? I still want to stand out as a W-9. It doesn't stop for me. It doesn't matter if somebody's paying me or if I'm running my own business. It doesn't stop. That mindset has got to keep pushing you.
So, Sage, what does a good carrier look like from the broker side? And how should a trucker negotiate without burning bridges?
So a lot, and here's another thing too, which I believe you're going to probably want to talk about. Let's talk about why brokers want to see an inspection, even though you can't get an inspection.
Right.
Okay. So with the inspection thing, there's a lot of let's say double brokering companies or people that open up a trucking company just for the purpose of double brokering freight that are out there pretending to be carriers and They are taking the freight and reposting it, which is fraud, and that's the only reason they have this carrier. So some brokers came across, now again, some agencies, even though they're dum-dums, came and said, well, maybe if we look at their inspection report and see that they're actually driving down the road, that then we know that they're actually trucking companies and they're not fake trucking companies doing this. Now, the problem is there's two types of inspections. There's a DOT inspection you guys do every year.
Yep.
Once a year, that you go to a mechanic. And then there's an FMCSA inspection that a law enforcement officer does.
Right.
And then so the broker said, well, we don't want the DOT inspections. We want law enforcement officers to be doing it because now we can pull the driver and we can hold them accountable that they're actually doing. But the problem is that they didn't realize, because they're dum-dums who don't cross over very well. They might cross over like Whoopi does, but they don't cross over in any other way. So what happens is they don't understand that drivers specifically do things so they're not inspected. They get pre-passed. They get ways that they can drive past this. They keep good records, or they get on dedicated lanes, or they do this stuff and they say, hey, they don't hit these scales. So this is something that now technology, in regards to things like highway, carrier OK, broker 411 that everybody hates. Broker 411 has basically helped with that. Now, is it going? I can't answer for some that are still taking the inspection. You can then say, hey, look, I'm on a dedicated run. I'm normally not getting inspected because I don't go past scales. I'm a dedicated run.
Right.
Is anything else I can present to you within, either that to verify that I am due? Now, I, as a broker, have a credit reference sheet. You, as a carrier, can have a credit reference sheet. Hey, here's the reference sheet in regards to brokers that I've worked with. Here's this, that I'm a real person. I have literally had a broker call and say, hey, just call my agent directly, and he'll tell you I'm a real. And I've had them call, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, are you looking for an insurance cert? No, we already got that. We actually want to talk to you and verify this is an actual. I'm like, okay. Yeah, they're real. I've talked to them on the phone. They have a real truck. They're not a double broker. So
hey, they Venmo'd me $50 and told me that they were, so they have to be.
Yeah, they have to be. Yeah, no, but it's whatever you. This is again whatever you can do to stand out from the crowd. This is where your professional email comes into play. This is where take pictures of your truck, create a portfolio, do whatever you need to do to get past that if you can.
Right.
So to me, when I'm looking at the Carrier 411, or I'm looking at Highway, or I'm looking at Carrier OK. What I'm looking at is, what is your safety rating? What is your CSA score? Please know that, okay? If you get things that should not be on there, know what the FMCSA data Q is.
Right.
Data Q. You can appeal some things and figure that out. Go to YouTube, type it in. There's videos on how to, right? That's important. For me, my shipper will allow one. Be over on one, but you can't be over on both. I don't do hazmat, so I throw that out. You can be over on one, but you can't be over on both. Okay? And if you're over on one, I'm going to go through there and I'm going to look what it was. Right? If I see, okay, you got hit for a broken windshield, when you're on the phone with me, I'm going to say, hey, I see on this date you got hit with a broken windshield. Did you get the windshield fixed? And if you're like, no, I haven't got it fixed, or yeah, I got it fixed. Okay, just send me a quick picture. Let me see it's fixed.
Right.
I didn't get it fixed. Well, I can't use you. One.
Now you're a liar.
Now you're a liar, but two, you got, and even if they didn't lie to me, you were written up for something and never got it fixed. I can't use you. You're not responding to the things that you're getting. So to be a good carrier, what you want to do is keep your safety score good. Keep a good safety score. All right, I'm going to let a little bit of information out. So in regards to things like Highway, I can actually see factoring companies report to Highway. I can actually see if you're moving freight because of the amount of factoring that you're doing.
Right.
People are like, oh, you can track me with my ELD. I can't track you with your ELD, but I can see dots. I don't know where you are. I just know you're in this state.
Right.
So you are, if you're, you know what I mean? So I can actually see that. If you're hooked up with the ELDs. I can't track you, and I can't use that information to give it better, cheaper rates. Like I'm not seeing how many trucks are there. I'm only the truck that I'm looking at is in Texas. So if I got a load in Texas, now if I got a load in Syracuse and I see your trucks in Texas, I'm like, bro, let's try again, right?
Right.
So it is getting better, and you're gonna have to be like, look, I don't have inspections, I don't get inspections, I run a dedicated run, I run a pre-pass. Tell them what a pre-pass is.
Right.
Some, not all brokers, but they might not even know what it is. Hey, I run a little box in my truck that because I keep my safety rating good, it'll give me a green light to be able to bypass the
Right.
scale, save time, save money, keep moving, and that helps me get your delivery on time.
Right.
Heck, I met a state trooper in the state of Colorado one time that didn't know what a pre-pass was.
Yes. 100%. That's why I said, so tell them why you don't get them. Tell them that you run that box. Tell them, Google it. Google pre-pass.
Right. Now we got, Best Pass and DriveWise and all these things. And good Lord.
Normal.
Like, I haven't been through an inspection honestly, it's been years.
Yeah.
The last inspection that even happened with us was, I wasn't even driving. It was Rosie driving. Yeah. And I can't remember when that was. Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I run these dedicated lanes, man. And it's not that I'm not going through weigh station. I'm actually hitting like every Florida weigh station because I don't know why they like to hit me on the scale every time I'm coming back empty.
I would too. I mean, look at you. I mean, look at how you look. You know what I'm saying?
I could be at like 79,000 pounds and I get a bypass.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I'm empty. I'm almost always on the scale, and it seems to always be the right scale with Florida scales, and that's the scary one. That's usually where they pull you off. And just saying.
Well, yeah, even for me, I just had my first level 1 in about 4 years.
Right.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. But this is the stuff that you're going to have to teach the broker. I know it's a pain in the ass, and I know you guys think that they should know this, but they don't.
Right.
There are people that are rotating in that are just learning things, right? And those people that rotate in be like, hey, whoa. Oh, you don't have any inspections. Well, let me explain that. One, this, but I also have a pre-pass that I can, I'll send you the copy of my pre-pass showing where I ran. If you would,
and the key to this, Grandpa's advice: don't be a dick.
Yes. Now, so here's the thing I want people to know. I want drivers to know. I know this sucks, and I know this isn't, but shippers call the shots. And I have had shippers say, hey, when I used to move stuff on the rail. Normally, it takes about 4 trailers to be profitable on the rail. Okay? There's 4 trailers to be profitable on the rail. So we'd have, because besides they do weight.
Right.
So 1 trailer is not really profitable. But 4, we can save money. Okay. Problem is, a shipper might say, hey, why don't we try posting this on the load board? Well, yeah, but you're only moving it for approximately $1 mile. If we move it for the rail, I can't post it for $1 mile. Nobody's going to move this. Yeah, just try it. Let me see. So I can tell the customer, no, I won't do it, but then the customer's going to find another broker to do it.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to post it. I know of course, I'm going to take a beating on the phone calls, right? But I'm going to answer the phone calls, and I'm going to say, okay, yeah, we have to post it. This is all, all we have in it, just so you guys know, I love this line. This is all we have. This is all I have in it. Realize that what you're hearing is not what I'm saying.
Right.
You're hearing this is all the money in the load. What I'm actually saying is this is all I can offer to pay you.
Right.
Right? I mean, the guy on the phone can't just, this is all I can offer to pay you. This is all I have in it to give to you.
Right.
Besides this, I have to go to a manager, and that manager has to go to another manager, and that because there's a chain of command, right?
Right.
So a customer will come to me and say, just post this load. Just post it. Yeah, move it for $1.17. So the customer will post it, and I'll say, man, I don't think we're going to get any. Just give it a shot. We have time. Fine. So for about a day or so, I'll take a bunch of views. Well, no kidding. Hey, really happens to happen. And then I'll go back to the customer and say, yeah, we got nothing on this one. Nobody's moving. I've got an offer for $2. It's been the best offer so far. I can leave it, but nobody's going to be able to do this. Nobody's going to be able to make money. And even if we do, we might find, that unicorn. But that's good luck with that. And eventually, the customer is going to say, okay, fine, come up on the price. But the problem is that they have to see it sit for themselves because they don't understand logistics. We do. So it's kind of our job to eventually teach them to be better at the situation because that's what we do. So there are times that, yes, the customer wants me to post it. They want to throw it out there. They want to see if it can done. And I'm just going to do it, even to prove them wrong because that's how we do things sometimes, right?
Right.
I mean, there's times everybody's kind of, look, you've been married a long time. Sometimes you know that this is not going to work, honey. Try try. It's not going to work, honey. Hang on, I got a button for this.
I want to try it.
Right.
And next thing you know, it doesn't work, but you try it, right? And we get it done. So sometimes it's that type of situation. So if it is that type of situation and you call in on one of those loads, try to find out what's going on. Hey, is this customer set the rate on this one? Yeah, pretty much. Is it not moving for like a month? I mean, it's got unlimited time to move. Yeah, pretty much. That's what's going on with this one.
Right.
Well, let them do me a favor. I can be here for an hour. Tell them I can do it for $2 a mile. Let's put that offer to them. Tell them I'm empty. I can be there in 20 minutes or whatever it is, depending on what time they get it. And let's put it out there. Give them a call. See if they want to do it. If not, I just don't think this one's going to work for me. I understand.
Right.
I understand what you're kind of pushed up against the wall also. But at least let's and they might.
Yeah, Sage, you're just trying to screw me, bro.
I am absolutely, because Blind Sight needs me to pay him some money to fix his truck. No,
right.
But it's one of those things that
crazy.
It's a lot of times it's that customer that's just going to say this is the rate. The customer wants to push the rates down as low as possible.
Right.
I know drivers don't want to think that, but they don't want to pay. They have a hierarchy that is telling them profit, 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 profit. It is not my job to make sure you profit. It's your job.
Right.
If I am, I'm taking a supervisory role in your company. I'm not allowed to do that.
Right.
So the shipper, and I can't just give the shippers money away because for free. I have to be, they're going to audit me and say, what, why did you give this? How much did he offer for this? $2 a mile. How much did you pay him? $3 a mile. Why did you just give my money away for free? Well, the driver should have. The driver should have more, but he didn't want more. Yeah, but he should. I can't do that.
Right.
So
this is it's like the opposite of what we're used to in like buying a car. You want to buy the car for as cheap as you can get it.
Yeah.
The dealership wants to sell it to you for as much of a markup as they can get out of you.
Correct.
There's so many ways to put yourself on the other side.
Correct.
So that you can understand what's really going on here.
I can explain this real easy. I got two things that are selling on Amazon. One for this much money and one with free shipping. Which one do you always pick? Free shipping.
Right.
Nobody wants to pay shipping. You went dark. He's out of here. Nobody wants to pay shipping.
Right.
Shippers don't want to pay shipping. CFOs that monitor money don't want to pay shipping. They want to turn profits for their shareholders. And shipping is an expense. So we have to tell them, and we have to teach them, and we have to bring value to what we do. Your value as a truck driver is to the broker. My value is to the customer. Why? Because I can do what you can't do. You only have one truck, I can bring two trucks.
Right.
You only have one truck but no rail, I can bring rail. I can do sea. I can do air. I can do everything you can't do. And the thing that you can do to the customer that they hate is say, no, can't do that. Because they will find someone who can.
Right.
And then they find people like me, a brokerage that can handle all that.
Exactly.
And that's where the value is brought. So your job is to get the best value out of me. My job is to get the best value out of you and service that customer. And that's something that drivers need to understand, that your value is to the person that is to me. Because the minute you tell a customer no, you're out.
Right.
Because there will be somebody that will say yes.
See, and on that note, in the Road Warrior Entrepreneur community, guys, we dig deep into these relationships. You guys know about how we feel about relationships, rate strategies, business skills. Most truckers would never get taught. I mean, most of us came out here. I wanted a truck that I could take home. And then I had to learn the business side of trucking, right? It was that or go belly up. If you're tired of feeling like you're playing defense, join us at www.rwdrive.com and start running your business like a road warrior and not just other than. Sage, thanks, brother, for coming in here, man. We really do appreciate this.
Yeah.
Anything you want to throw out there in the world?
Reach out to me. You can email me at sage@sageoutcast.com. Like I said, if you're looking for any type of brokering stuff like that. Also, if you're looking for, I do insurance. I do commercial insurance. I can walk you through that. I work with LogRock. You can shoot me a email again at sage@sageoutcast.com. Or you can watch me on the Sage Outcast show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 10, except for tomorrow. I have to go to the doctor and probably get medicine because they ripped a tooth out of my skull and it's still
Nice.
hurts. So
and LogRock with what Sage is focusing on there is they're there for a guy with new authority, new numbers.
Absolutely, new numbers, new authority, a lot of startups, and like I said, the people there. Look, I was shocked when I went to LogRock. A buddy of mine, Truck Insurance, did it. We have Entree Mike. A lot of people might know Entree Mike, and then so there's a lot of people that know truck or understand truck, right?
Right.
So, like I said, once if you reach out to me, I think you guys are going to be hooked up with them. It'll come to me. So if you have questions, and I say the same thing, if you have questions, trucking questions, as we're going through the insurance, ask me. If you have insurance questions, ask me. My goal is to make you way smarter by the time you leave and understanding the insurance aspect things and the trucking aspect things, because I want you to be better at your job, because that benefits me as an agent, as a freight broker, right?
Hey Sage, I know you got a new channel out there too. What was that? I can't remember it because I didn't subscribe yet because I'm a jerk face.
It's called Freight X Media on YouTube. I'm slowly starting. It's Freight X Media. We're going to be doing some shows over there. I'm going to reach out to some basically some YouTubers if they want to drop a show over there. Some new people that want to do shows but don't know how to do it. I'm helping them set up to do shows and put recordings out there and put information out there. So it's not just for me. It's basically for other content creators that might not know how to do it. Right. Then you can start there and then branch off and then do your own channel and things like that. So
people might not know this either, but from time to time you may actually catch Sage on the Road Dog channel.
I'm on Sirius Radio. I've been on Sirius Radio, so they're starting to bring me in to be a constant basically on there, right? Consistently on there once a week, every week. I think they're actually looking to get me to have a show. They reached out to me. Some of the producers reached out to me to fill out some paperwork to basically to be on other shows. But yeah, so I'm on Sirius Radio, Road Dog Radio. I don't know when. You can join my Discord or basically you get out there and I can drop it. But we have a good time. If you join the Discord with my show, which is on my YouTube channel, I bring you backstage. So you can actually see what's going on backstage. You can't talk or anything, but you can listen to how the radio show goes backstage. Like when we're at commercial and we're actually, picking on my cousin Wimpy or Jason Oat and things like that. But we have a good time with it. It's a good time back there, and I enjoy being on the radio.
Awesome, man. Sage, I appreciate you so much. Jeff, final words.
Oh, you know what I'm going to say, Charlie.
Do
Keep
it.
that Riverside down, and remember, with no action, there is no traction, guys.
Yeah, don't eat the yellow snow.
That's great advice.
Right?
That's sage advice right there.
Sage advice. Sage advice. Well played, sir.
Thanks for having me on.
You guys know that there's no one out here looking after us but us, so look after each other, you guys. We appreciate your time and spending time with us every week. Went just a couple minutes long today, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this on the replay and you got questions, by all means, put them down there in those comments and stuff like that. Hit the thumbs, subscribe, all that nonsense that we all have to say every time we talk about anything on YouTube's.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you guys here next week, 6 p.m. Tuesday Eastern time, like every week. I think we're coming up on 4 years, Jeff. I can't remember.
Yep.
I can't remember because I'm old and whatever. And we'll see you guys here real soon. Sage, hang on if you like to.
I'll hang on with you. Talk.